al-Muallim begins a working visit to Russia to discuss ways and means of consolidating relations between the two friendly countries. Syrian Arab army units eliminate large number of terrorists near Nubol and al-Zahra in Aleppo countryside. Iraqi troops begin a military operation north of Aqouba and eliminate ISIL terrorists in al-Maqdadiyah and Heat near al-Mosul dam. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our news for today. In response to an invitation by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign and Expatriates Minister Walid al-Muallim arrived in the Russian city of Sochi this morning on a two-day working visit to Russia. The Russian Foreign Ministry has said the talks of the two ministers will mainly center on the current situation in Syria and the escalating danger of the terrorist extremist organizations, particularly ISIL and al-Nusra. Moscow, the ministry added, sets forth from the conviction that the mission of confronting terrorism and extremism is a priority and that the Syrian government bears the main burden of combating terrorism, as the so-called counter-terrorism operation led by Washington and its allies without coordination with Syria has led to limited results. The Russian Foreign Ministry stressed that no effective international combating of terrorism can be realized without adhering to international law, the principles of sovereignty and non-intervention in states' internal affairs. The ministry pointed out that the extremists impose a non-humanitarian system on large areas of Syria and Iraq, commit atrocious crimes and have nothing to do with Islam. The ministry said, as the U.S. attempts to claim to itself the exclusive right of defining the objectives and specifying the methods of the counter-terrorism operations, the imminent meeting between Lavrov and al-Muallim will mainly deal with the tangible role played by the Syrian and Russian sides in confronting terrorism and extremism. The ministry added that despite the importance of combating terrorism in Syria, the question of resuming the political track remains pressing. The Russian Foreign Ministry asserted that the two ministers will also discuss the special envoy to Syria, Staffan Mistura's ideas and his initial steps, which merit support, as well as the meetings he conducted in Damascus and other capitals in the region. In New York, Russia's representative to the UN, Vitaly Churkin, has said the crimes of the terrorists in the Middle East have taken a catastrophic dimension, calling on the world community to intensify efforts to confront extremism on the basis of the UN Security Council's resolutions, which call for preventing the influx of foreign terrorists who have been joining ISIL, al-Nusra and other extremist organizations. In his word at the UN General Assembly, Churkin underlined the importance of coordinating efforts with anti-terrorism forces in the region, including the governments of Syria and Iraq. He said the common confrontation of terrorism should become at the top of the subjects of dialogue between the Syrian government and the opposition. Churkin affirmed Russia's resolve to continue work with all constructive Syrian parties on the basis of the Geneva Statement and the principles of protecting Syria's unity, sovereignty and territorial integrity. Syrian Arab army units have killed and wounded large numbers of terrorists in the surroundings of Nubol and al-Zahra in Aleppo suburbs. They have also eliminated armed men in Mayer, At-Tamura, Hayyan, Ma'arrat al-Artiq, ancient Aleppo, and Qadi Askar in Aleppo. In Homs, an attempt by terrorists to infiltrate in the direction of Al-Wa neighborhood and Jisr al-Kharab was foiled. Several terrorists were killed or wounded. Residents of Ain al-Arab in Aleppo's eastern countryside, as well as the people protection units, continued to advance in the town, inflicting heavy losses on ISIL terrorists. Local sources inside Ain al-Arab reported that the people's protection units took control of several buildings near the municipality building, killing a number of ISIL terrorists. Fierce battles erupted in other parts of the city, during which more than 18 ISIL terrorists were killed. Several vehicles equipped with heavy weapons were also destroyed, creating havoc among ISIL terrorists who started to flee in some areas. Within the framework of the international efforts for combating terrorism, Iraqi troops conducted military operations south of Qara district, northeast of Baquba, in order to expel ISIL terrorists. Iraqi troops, supported by local fighters, killed 9 terrorists, including a suicide bomber in al-Mazdarat area north of al-Muqtadiyah. In Al-Anbar province, Iraqi fighter jets launched an air raid on an ISIL convoy in al-Bakr neighborhood west of Heat, killing the leader of ISIL group in the area along with 22 of his gunmen. The General Commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, Muhammad Ali Ja'fari, stressed that the West is behind the creation of ISIL terrorist group in order to target Iran and the people of the region. The Iranian top officer referred to the resistance of the Syrian and Iraqi people against the terrorist organizations, pointing out that the American Zionist conspiracy has failed due to the high awareness of the Iranian people and the people of the region. The UN General Assembly adopted by overwhelming majority 5 resolutions concerning Palestine after discussion over Palestine and the situation in the Middle East. A resolution on resolving the Palestinian issue by peaceful means, and another one on Jerusalem as a capital of the Palestinian state, were the most prominent resolutions adopted during the session. After passing the vote, the Palestinian permanent representative at the UN, Riyad Mansour, said that defending the international law by the international community at the UN was encouraging for the Palestinian people to continue the struggle in order to end the occupation and to achieve the independence of the Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. Finally, the Presbyterian Evangelical Church in Latakia welcomed an American delegation of the Global Presbyterian Evangelical Church that came in a visit to support the Syrian people and government in their fight against terrorism.
The Presbyterian Evangelical Church in Latakia, represented by Bishop Salam Hanna and Sheikh Nazir Khasho, has welcomed the American delegation of the Global Presbyterian Evangelical Church that has made a trip in cities of Syria and watched the reality of destruction and effects of terrorism.
We have been in Homs, and yesterday we were in Yazdi and went through Safita, and of course today in Latakia. What we have seen are amazing people, an amazing country. I am very impressed with the hospitality that we receive everywhere. I'm also impressed with the strength of the people here. You have endured many, many bad things for which I feel strongly that you need to be encouraged.
The contrast to coming over many years to this beautiful, peaceful, prosperous country, the contrast coming here is shocking and sad. It breaks my heart for the people in this place. We spent several days in Homs, which of course is one of the worst places in terms of the conflict. What is the positive side of it is to see the resilience of the people here, of their commitment to stay, to rebuild, to work for peace. And so we pray that the government and the army can also bring that peace in other places, especially a city like Aleppo, which we know has also been badly.
What do you say to Syrian people here?
I say, I stand here in awe and admiration of you. I love you. But I say at home to everyone, and what I've said here every chance I've had the chance to speak, it's in my prayers every night. The faces that I see, the names that I know, are in my prayers, and you all come to bed with me every night in my prayers, and I have a very large bed. I love you.
It is very important to know exactly what is really going on in Syria. All the peoples of the world should come to this country in order to feel and read the truth. Something is like madness controls this area and destroys its humanity and civilization. This is not the first delegation that we invite to Syria to see facts directly. We have accompanied a delegation that has represented the churches of Europe and America In meeting with Mr. President Dr. Bashar al-Assad last January, they have visited places in Syria and watched the extent of destruction.
I have friends that are Syrians and live here, and I know that the president of Syria has made it much safer for Christians and minorities. And so I really wish that my government would let people run their own countries. So I'm not in favor of my government meddling and interfering in other people's countries. But I know that there is great help that we can give, and that is I'm very much in favor of humanitarian aid, but not military aid.
Through this delegation, maybe a part of truth will reach to their nations in order to stop terrorism in Syria. To the English News, Syrian channel, Ranim al-Bashar.
With this, we conclude our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Selina, but after a short break.
Good afternoon. The Ministry of Foreign Trade has achieved high record during this year, as the total value of the Syrian exports reached about 98 billion Syrian pounds. On the other hand, the total weight of the imported commodities reached 4.375 billion kilograms. A report issued by the Syrian Post establishment showed that the actual revenues of the establishment reached about 455 million Syrian pounds since the beginning of this year till October. On the other hand, the planned expenditures value reached about 1.5 billion Syrian pounds during this year, with an implementation rate hit 65%, as most of the revenues were achieved by the branches of Damascus, Latakia, Tartus and Sueda. The production department at the silos company said that the input volume in the silos of the country reached 850,000 tons till September, while the output volume hit 1 million tons. Moreover, the wheat quantity reached 70,000 tons, as the reserves average in all the silos hit 1.750 million tons. Furthermore, Sbaine silo has been rehabilitated, while serious works have been taken currently in Adra silo to resume production as soon as possible. Brent settled around $78.20 a barrel today, after a remark by the Saudi Arabia's oil minister that the oil market would stabilize, which helped to lift the benchmark of early lows. European stocks were little changed, as a decline in the travel companies set off gains in utilities and commodity producers. Japanese shares, on the other hand, closed lower for the first time in 6 days. Gold traded near the highest level in 3 weeks, as investors weighed increased stimulus around the world against the outlook for higher dollar interest rates. The yen was near the weakest level in 7 years against the dollar, while the dollar was little changed against most of its major peers. Before a report, economists said that will show orders for durable goods slid for a third month. With this, we conclude our economic news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.